showing out, making moves, no doubt. FFA pride, it's what we're all about. From classroom dreams to real world flair, we got the stories you won't find anywhere. Beyond the jacket where the stories unfold, voices of the future, fearless and bold. Tune in now, let the passion ignite. It's more than a jacket, it's a way of life. Beyond the jacket where passion meets purpose.
Welcome back to Beyond the Jacket. It's Rachel, and today we have Paige with us, and we also have a newfound friend, Jagger Ferrie, with us. He is a state FFA officer here in the state of Iowa, and we're super excited to get to know him and what he does through his SAE and his state FFA officer position and what he's looking forward to this year. So, Jagger, you can take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, and what you like most about FFA.
Yeah, so I am from small town Story City. We're just a little bit north of Ames. My family has an acreage, and then out in Eldora, we also have a 20-acre farm where we do a couple row crops, and then also raise sheep. I try my best to get out to that farm as much as I can. It's just with the busy schedule that doesn't always happen. So I've always grown up around at least a small amount of agriculture. And it's always been kind of in the back of my head that it was really, like, it was important, but I never realized how important it was until I got to high school. So as I was kind of going middle school to high school parts and kind of searching for what I wanted to do with my high school years, I ran into our ag exploratory class, and that's where I found a passion for the agriculture, like being able to see what I had been doing for so many years and then going and learning more about it in the classroom was really exciting to me. So freshman year, I joined FFA, and that's how like everything really kicked off. I first went to national convention, and being able to see everyone in those blue jackets and all believing in the same thing and actually genuinely caring about each other was beyond exciting to me. Like, I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. And so as I kept going through high school, based off that first event alone, I was inspired to be that person that people could look up to and continue to inspire like a sense of togetherness with everyone. And so I kept getting involved with nomination committees. I also served as a district officer. And then finally we made it to state office, which has been an exciting journey. I don't know if I could pick a single thing that would be my favorite for FFA, but I absolutely love meeting new people and getting to learn new things about how they see agriculture or how it affects them.
I think we have a very similar FFA journey. Mine started a little bit earlier, like in middle school. Yep. But that first event hooks you, and then you can't let go. You just love it, and you just want to go to the pinnacle inside the organization. You want to learn all the different parts and meet all the people. So we're similar in that aspect, and I'm sure, Rachel, you feel the same way about just connecting with others from all over and having a shared passion for sure.
Yeah, I know we were just talking about deja vu for me, and if I ever see it, and when you guys are talking from your experiences, and that is definitely something that brings that back, is going to your first National FFA convention. I remember I ripped my skirt all the way up, and I was so embarrassed at my first National FFA convention. But luckily, there was a group of girls there. There was a couple advisors that had safety pins. They all fashioned me up, and I was really good to go by the end of it. I was pulling a new style for sure. But I remember just the overwhelming sense of all of those people wanted to help in that moment, and it really made me feel not so embarrassed about it, but also like I was a part of a club or something bigger. And I think you talked a little bit about that. You wanted to be a leader for other people. Now that you are a current state FFA officer, or you were? What does that look like?
Current state office. I was just elected in April.
So what are you looking forward to most with that position as far as the leadership goes?
So my thing when I was running for state office was, more than anything, I want to be able to connect with the members and then give them something to look forward to in FFA. So as I go forward into my year, I'm super excited to start some of our chapter workshops and also just continue going to these events where I'm meeting new people. Today, I actually just finished my COLT, which is chapter officer leadership training. So it was stressful just because, like, you know, you work for so long and then trying to get it to all come together. but it was so worth it because I got to talk to so many members, and everyone that I talked to was so kind and outgoing. And then at the end of it, I took my facilitators out to eat lunch, and they had nothing but good things to say about the people they met and the relationships they built.
See, I think that's something that lasts a lifetime. I still am friends with, I'm planning my wedding right now. I'm still inviting some of my state FFA officer buddies or some people that I was district officers with. I'm like, they need to be here. They were one of my best friends. And so it's
Yep.
always cool to have friends from across the state. One of my best friends from high school went to a different school. She lived in a different part of the state. We ended up working as coworkers together eventually. And so it's cool to see that those relationships last a lifetime, especially after you're a CFA officer too.
Yes.
Paige, I know you're going through the thick of that right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jagger, for a little context, I ran for our state office screening process in April,
Okay.
but I don't find out till next week if I'm an officer. So right now I'm in full campaign mode because I'm from Florida. I think I remember attaching that in the email. But I'm from Florida. And so our process is done a little differently. I've kind of learned through Rachel and a couple of the other kids. But we campaign here in Florida. Maybe not with like bumper stickers and t-shirts, but we have to give a speech and we have to do a huge question and answer session in front of like 6,000 kids. And so right now that's what I'm preparing for, but I'm so excited. I mean, I've worked 6 years to get to this one pinnacle moment that I set this goal, my first FFA convention. So totally understand what you've said and the deja vu of looking back at those moments, or you saying cult conference and meeting all the people. Like, I competed on the national level and done a little bit of the national leadership workshops, and Rachel saying that she had friends all over the place when we've been picking guests for the podcast. I'm like, oh, I know so-and-so in Oklahoma. Let's call them.
Yes.
And
That's
hopefully one
so
day
awesome.
they can come to my wedding, like all the little steps along the journey.
There you go. So Jagger, when you obviously mentioned your workshops, do you have an idea of what you want those to be centered around this coming year?
Yeah, so Iowa FFA, the way we do it is we have 2 sets of curriculum that we rotate back and forth from. So this year for Colt, our theme was Empower. And so it's just getting those chapter officers amplified and ready to go for what is to come this next year. But also looking at how are we going to build up other chapter members and how are we going to make our chapters the best by being the best that we can be.
There you go. I think that's so important because I think when people think of the trainings and stuff and the curriculums, only the district officers get to participate or only the chapter officers get to participate. But the goal really is, especially here in Iowa, and I'm not sure, Paige, maybe you can tell us about Florida's, but the goal really is for that all to trickle down from the state FFA officer to the district officer to the chapter officer to the chapter member. And I think that's something that's super cool here in Iowa that we really try to focus on. When you're talking about, FFA in general, obviously when we're freshmen, we're going to change gears here a little bit, but you pick an SAE. And so I thought yours was super cool. It's soils, right? Like all the dirt.
Yep, sure is.
Not dirt. It's soil. So I would love for you to highlight that a little bit and what, how you got into that SAE, and then maybe tell people what an SAE is for those that maybe are freshmen that are listening.
Yeah, we'll start with the SAE part. So SAE stands for Supervised Agricultural Experience. And so what you do is you go through and you pick out something that you are passionate about. There's many different pathways that you can take. I personally am a big plant science guy, so that's the route I took. But in that SAE, you have the chance to grow your knowledge and then also get real life application. So in FFA, we have something called the 3-circle model. And what it is classroom, FFA, and then SAE. And each of those parts connect to help you learn more about agriculture. The SAE part is personally my favorite. It's where you get that hands-on learning and get to connect everything you learn from the classroom. So for me, like I said, I was a big plant science guy. When I first stepped into plant science and then the greenhouse, fell in love with it. Like I knew there was nothing else I'd rather do. And so as I went from being a freshman who only did farm labor, just going out to my family farm, I then started to develop and started thinking about how can I do more with plant science? And that's where I found the AgriScience Fair. I am the first member from my chapter to do the agri-science fair. So it was a huge
That's so
learning
cool.
curve. Yeah. But unfortunately, it was that learning curve, but it was a good learning curve. So I was able to take everything that I learned, and just this year I passed it down to 4 new freshmen. So we have
That's so
this
awesome.
yeah, the past year we had 5 people go to agri-science fair, and that was really exciting to me. So
I feel like that's something you'll look down like in a few years and there'll be 10 and then there'll be 20 people from your chapter
yes,
and then everybody will be and you'll have that. So that's a really cool, legacy to leave on your chapter, I suppose.
it is very exciting.
It's like a ripple effect. You get to watch it, and then like you'll be the one that everybody looks up to. They'll be like, "Oh my gosh, Jagger did it! I have to do it. He's a state officer, and he's so cool, and I have to do it too." Which is that's really how it happens around here. If a state officer does it, then everybody wants to do it, kind of thing.
Yep, fair enough. Yeah, and
Oh
it's
my
really
goodness.
exciting project when you get to do something that you enjoy learning about and love. So
Mhm.
for me, I just wanted to connect like how is the classroom connected to real life applications. So what I did over the past 3 years is I studied how plants grow in different soils and then also how they grow with or without fertilizer. And I took all this data and I put it together and I was like, how does this apply to Iowan farms and like their row crops? And
Mhm.
I found that when you have plants in really poor soils, they grow better than those in denser. And then also when you add just a small amount of fertilizer, they start to grow even more. So that was really exciting to be like, hey, if we add these tillage practices to our farms and then also find ways to implement fertilizer, we're going to get better crop yieldage.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I feel like there's also some studies though that although because you maybe just did it for a year or how long did your study last for?
It was 3 consecutive years.
Okay.
Yep.
So cool.
Perfect. Yeah,
But of
because
course, that doesn't
there's
mean
some
there's, yeah, yep, there's things that could always go wrong or I didn't get right too.
different. No, no. I mean, it's a study, so there's tons across the state, and it's exciting to see what you're doing. And I feel like you could almost compare your study with other students and see if they have some sort of similar study that they're doing for the SAE. Because
Right.
I mean, you have to pick a category that an SAE is in, so maybe there's
Yep.
somebody else doing something similar. So that'd be cool to look into and see what they experience too. If there's somebody else out there doing a similar thing, there's probably nobody doing the exact same study, but
Yep.
Yeah. You said you did it for 3 consecutive years. Like,
Yes.
what type of commitment was that? Like, what was your day to day with your experiment? I never did agri science fair.
Yep.
So, like, what was your day to day commitment? I mean, 3 years is a long time. Was it every day? Was it like, how did that work for you?
So the first year that I did it, since we were still trying to figure out how to get involved with it, it was kind of slowed down. So the first year I started probably in December and experimented through April. And that was just kind of checking on them on a weekly basis,
Mhm.
because, to get into the ag classroom every day is sometimes a lot. Um, but that was kind of a weekly basis. And the science fair is usually in that March timeframe. So I experimented from December to March. And then the second year, since I knew what I was doing, I got a lot more involved in it. And that's when I started doing it starting in September and experimented all the way to March. And I did that same thing this last year.
So you got a lot more data those 2 years then probably
Yes.
from doing it for
Yep.
longer. That's cool. It's interesting because I feel like um some people like they become more efficient at taking the data. So you probably got more data not just because of the time frame, but also because you just knew what you were doing probably
Right.
a little bit more.
Yes.
I know
Very
with
much
my
so.
I know with AgCom stuff, I was like, okay, I'll just post 2 times a week. It'll be enough. And then like the next year I was like, oh no, I need to probably be doing this every day and have stories at least this many times a week and writing down my data. I
Right.
think as we mature, our SAEs get much better.
Definitely. Especially once you start thinking about your essay more and more, like, how can I make this better? What can I do differently? That's where it really starts to expand.
Mhm. And
Absolutely.
that's something we kind of talk about is how your SAE kind of leads into your future. So obviously now you're graduating high school this year, which is super fun, I bet.
Yes. Yes.
But you're going to be off to which college?
I'll be at Iowa State University.
There you go. I love that. As an alum. But what will you be studying there?
I will be studying horticulture with an emphasis on athletic turfgrass management.
Okay, I love that.
That's cool.
I'm very
Paige,
excited.
for your background, Iowa State has one of the best turf grass management programs, I think, in the nation, if I'm correct.
Yep.
And a lot of their alum help out with like NFL fields and MLB fields and things like that. And so I've read a few stories about them and how they've gone to all these different areas and help with the turf grass management. And it's some quality fields that they're taking care of. It's nothing like nobody's backyard, but
correct. Yep.
That'll be really cool. Have you gotten to know any professors already or anything like that?
Yes, I've gotten to know Barb Clausen and Adam Tomes.
Okay, I love Barb.
Barb's amazing.
Rachel, I think you know everybody. I think you know everybody.
I feel like everybody that they've mentioned on this call is somebody that maybe influenced my career or my college experience. Or we were just talking to May, who was somebody we just interviewed, about her past FFA advisor, Mrs. Daisy. And I'm not sure, do you know Mrs. Daisy?
I know Mrs. Daisy.
And so Barb is one of those people, like Mrs. Daisy, is an Iowa State professor that just, when she cares about a person, she cares about you, and she cares about where you're going in life and what you're doing. And she's very passionate and very helpful. So she'll be a very, very awesome person to have in your corner during your college career.
Actually, today she just emailed me and she's like, hey, I noticed your Alex score and I'm hoping that you get this score, just like maybe get it up just a bit so we can get you in the right class. I was like, perfect. Thank you, Barb.
I took my Alex exam the other day because I'm not going to Iowa State, but I am going to the University of Florida. And I had to take my Alex exam, and I'm not good at math. I can do anything but math. It's so bad. And I got my score enough to take the class without taking the prereqs, but my SAT score makes it where I have to take all 3 prereqs.
Oh no.
So I was so excited. I like ran to my dad. I'm like, because my dad, he's the total math finance guy in our family. I was like, listen, I don't have to take prereqs. I did it. Woohoo. And then I came home from orientation and I was like, actually, never mind. I did do the test, but my SAT score was so bad that I have to take all of them.
That's terrible.
Paige likes to discredit herself sometimes. She's a remarkable student, and I think sometimes she's got to have confidence in her skills. So I remember being
math is the best point of that, but
there you go. Well, speaking of being a student and a researcher and a leader, we talked a little bit about balancing that time. But how do you do all of that? Like, I mean, there's a lot to do. And so when we talk about is it a calendar that keeps you on track? Is it just your mind?
So for me, or at least what the state officers like to call me, I'm a very type A person. So I have everything in my phone calendar, and all of that stuff has times. It's color coordinated. And then for different events, like on each day, my calendar gives me the option to use an emoji. It's like if I first open my calendar, I see only the emoji, and I know based on that emoji what event I may be doing.
I think I need you as an assistant or something.
Yeah.
I was just telling my teammates, and maybe you'll have an answer for me, Jagger. I was setting up some schedules in Google Sheets, and I was like, I wonder if there's an automated way to add these things on my calendar, because that would be just so convenient in my Excel sheet. It's a content calendar in the Excel sheet. So I'll have to do some research on that.
You'll have to look. I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah. Emoji idea is kind of good though, because like
it's
you can just get
nice.
one emoji and you know what's going on. I love that.
No, that's super cool. I'm gonna have to figure that out because my mom says that when I get older, there's no way I can fit a kid into a day planner, and I'm going to have to like work around like my block schedule that I have every day. And it's all color coordinated and like different fonts of handwriting. She's like, when you get to school, realize your handwriting is going to become all pretty to like shorthand everything. And like, it's not going to be color coded anymore. So I'm just warning you now. I was like, no, I'm still going to manage to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about how you manage your schedule. What do you do for fun outside of FFA and your science research?
So outside of FFA research, academic work, all of that, I love, love, love weightlifting and running. So
Okay.
most mornings before I'm going to work, I'm up at 5 a.m. getting a quick lift in or going for a jog, whatever the day might bring for me.
I love how he says a quick lift. I feel
Yeah.
like there's no thing.
It's definitely not quick, but in my head, it feels quick.
There you go. Do you have any aspirations to like join the running club at Iowa State?
From the sounds of it, I have another friend who's going to Iowa State, and I am being forced to join the running club. I don't think it's much of an option for me.
Oh my goodness. Did you play sports in high school?
I did cross country and track.
Oh,
There you
cool.
go. What did you run? What was your
For track, I was the 800 runner. So I would run the 4x8 D-Med and the Open 8.
There you go. I love that.
Cool.
My fiance actually used to be a very successful runner. He ran
really?
at Iowa. He was gonna go to Iowa State, but he's just not an Iowa State fan. So he went to Iowa and ran there. But he ran the 800.
Yep.
He no longer runs them. Maybe he should sometimes, but I have to ask him what his fastest time is, and then I'll let you know. So that way you can just go and try and beat him.
Okay, works for me.
There you go. Did you run at state this year?
I did not. I was short a couple seconds.
Oh, that's okay.
It's okay. I would say next year, but obviously that is not an option.
Yeah, that's true. But that's okay. You can join the running club and it'll be great. It'll set your pace for the year, and your day, I guess. There you go. So we've talked a little bit about your high school or your post-high school plans, but after high school, what do you see yourself or after college, what do you see yourself doing?
After college, the ultimate goal is to end up working for an NFL or MLB team. If I could pick anywhere, I would love to work at the brand new Buffalo Bills Stadium. They're like freshly built and is going to have actual grass in it, none of the AstroTurf. So I would love to be there. But obviously, any chance to get outside of the state, I would be so excited for, just to be able to see more than cornfields or bean rows. But after that, I don't want to spend the rest of my life there. I'd love to start saving up while I'm working there, and then come back and buy my family farm.
I love that.
Cool.
I feel like we just talked about this on the Farm for Profit podcast with Ag PhD's Darren Hefty, and he was talking about one of the best pieces of advice that he received as a younger person was to get off the family farm before you come back to the family farm. And I think Corey, who's a host on Farm for Profit, also experienced that. And I even experienced that, moving away for a couple years and realizing what it's like to live in a city or what it's like to live in a different state. So I moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Not sure it was the best option, but it was a good option for the time. And I really enjoyed my time there because I have friends there still that, grew up so different than me and look at things with such a different perspective. And I think that's a key to this is like, we don't know what other people experience, and how can you be the best farmer? How can you be the best advocate for what you're doing if you don't know what people want to hear, nor what they should be hearing, or what they don't know that they need to hear? And so that'll give you a great perspective if you can go out and be a part of something bigger than, not that your family farm isn't big by any means, but if you can go out, be a part of something different, and then bring that knowledge back. Because I feel like even working for a MLB team or an NFL team, you'll get that experience of what it's like to run a logistical corporate thing. And then come back to a family farm and say, here's ways we can streamline what we're doing. Here's ways that we can, be better in agronomy, or maybe we need to do some more research on this. And here's something that we've done when I worked here, and it led me to success in this career. So that'll be super cool. I love that you like different paths too, but don't get too hooked on it, because I feel like sometimes your plans change a little bit.
I've heard that one from my parents too.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. This is just so interesting. Like, all the guys here that do the turfgrass management things, they all want to come back and do the golf courses. So I don't know if you guys play golf in Iowa. I don't know. But a lot of
Paige.
They do, I promise.
But it's like every corner you turn in Florida, there's a cow pasture or a golf. So all the guys want to do that and work for the golf people. I don't even know their specific name.
Yeah.
I feel like my sister actually, Paige, for your reference, my sister works at the Des Moines Golf and Country Club as their membership person.
Okay.
And so they do have people that manage the golf course and do all of the grass, and it is perfection. I will say that it makes great for photo backgrounds. I don't know how to golf, so I'm more just there as like a hey, you know. But it does look beautiful. So I will say, backup plan: if you can't buy the family farm, you could go work at Des Moines Golf and manage their grass.
I'm not a golf person, so I might stray away from that one.
There you go. There you go. Golf is a hard sport to learn. I feel like I've tried to learn. I'm better on a golf simulator than I am in person.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a tech involved or something makes me better on the simulator.
My brother loves to play, and I can't hit it off the tee. It like goes like 2 inches, and the other day we went, and I missed the tee completely. I was laughing at myself, but my brother's like, pink, and it goes, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, hit 5. What do you call this? And he's like, it's not a birdie. You're past that, Paige. Don't worry.
There you go. Okay, so before we wrap up to the wrap up, we have some rapid fire questions that we're going to ask you. So, although they might be rapid fire, if we have a conversation about them, that's totally fine too. So, the first one, Jagger, is what is your favorite soil type?
Oh man. Favorite. I'm trying to like go through my head of like the soil triangle. Obviously you want that nice loam that has the sand, silt, and clay, like a good combo of it.
No, I love that answer. I know 0 things about soil, so
yeah, they all have specific names, and I can never remember any of them.
There you go. Okay, what is one word to describe your SAE?
Exciting.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh, I like it.
Why do you say exciting?
Or I guess it's exciting for me. I don't know about other people, but it's one of those things like, you know, you discover something new, and then like that's something exciting. That's something you want to keep. It makes you want to keep learning about it.
Yeah. Do you think after, you know, this year in FFA, you're not quite graduated from FFA, but eventually you're no longer a member? Will you continue the research you're doing?
I think I am going to continue it at least just a little bit, especially since I want to get my American degree. I'm still going to need some of that time. So I think if I continue it in some sort of capacity, it would definitely add to those hours.
Yeah, I bet if you talk to Barb, there would be a way to maybe incorporate it into your classwork.
Ooh, I might have to check that one out.
That's an option.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
I feel like those were always when, and they might still do this. Do you get credits for your state FFA office through Iowa State?
Yes. Okay.
Sometimes you can work it into that program, I think, a little bit. But I loved being able to do that because now I have, which this is so random, I have my old iPhone. I got it out the other day. I was trying to rejuvenate it, I suppose. It is very tiny and very small. Actually, it's in this drawer. I could probably show you. Oh, wait.
Oh, my gosh.
It's like the smallest itty-bitty one. But when I was in FFA and we got those credits, we had to do some sort of like documentation of what we were doing.
Yep.
And I would voice record myself, actually. So I have all these old voice recordings of me going on FFA trips and doing different things and talking about what I was learning. And they're really interesting to listen to now that I'm older. But I was able to work in like my chapter visits into my curriculum at school. And it made it a lot easier being a state FFA officer and balancing that with being a student at the same time. So I'm not saying that they would let you, but I'm saying that maybe you could advocate for that. What you're doing will lead to a promising future in that field.
Yes.
Okay. Outside of the turf grass management, outside of what you plan to do, what else do you think is a dream career in ag?
Ooh, I think if I wouldn't have gone down this path, I would have loved to pursue something in like aerial application.
Okay.
Yeah.
So diverse. I love it.
Wow. That was very different. I feel like drones and stuff.
Yep, drones. I think it would be super cool to get like a pilot license too and do aerial application that
Drone
way.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's
Um,
awesome.
Now I'm gonna go get my commercial pilot's license at some point. Maybe by the time this comes out, I'll have it. But this is my little drone.
Oh,
His name's Digi. But to even fly like a little drone, you have to, if it's for any business purpose, you have to have a commercial pilot's license.
yep.
Or even that, which is sounds so crazy, but honestly, after I started doing the research on it, it is so needed. I feel like there are a lot of
Yes.
regulations, and if you
Yep.
don't take the time to learn about them, right now I just have a recreational license. But if you don't have that already, drones are a cool thing just to have on your own. So if you're interested in it, maybe it could tie into your turf grass management of some sort.
I think
Um,
I think there definitely are routes to take in the turf
yeah.
grass too.
And have you seen like the big sprayer drones? Those ones are huge
Yes,
sometimes.
those
They're
are
like
so cool.
little birds, like they're ginormous.
Yeah.
Well, they're even bigger than birds. They're like the size of my desk here. And they've got trailers and stuff that haul them around, and those are really cool too. So maybe that's something that to look into in the future. But yeah, you can start with a little mini drone. This one doesn't even have to be registered because it's under the weight limit. So there's all kinds of rules, but
Okay.
fun thing if you want to learn, this is a good one. I can
Might
send
have
you
to
the
check it out.
there you go. There you go. Okay, the next one is who is a leader that inspires you?
Ooh. Oh man, there's quite a few I could name off. The first one that would come to mind though is Colin Bauer. He was the state president before Chloe Zader Green.
There
He
you
was
go.
one of those people that well, I was actually on his nom-com, so that's where I first met him. And then going to state
Probably
convention,
met
getting to be
you.
around him more.
There you
It
go.
was really cool. He was one of those people that just kind of looked out for me like an older brother. And really helped me continue my FFA journey as it is today.
I love that. I feel like all of us can probably name a person that was a few years older than us that inspired us in FFA. But
Yep.
Colin's a great kid. I probably met you the day that he interviewed because I was one of the judges for their curriculum part
Oh,
that they did.
their workshop one?
Their workshop
Oh
part.
my
It was me
goodness.
and Cindy, and I'm trying to think of who else was there. Can't remember who else was there, but it was a great time. He did a good job, and
Yeah,
I was excited. They all did so good. It's so difficult to
no kidding.
judge somebody on that because they all have different workshop styles. I feel like, and
Yep.
so it's always interesting to see how they work out at the end. But you guys did a great job, and Colin did an awesome job being the state president too. So now
Oh
he's
yeah.
probably more in an advisor role to Chloe, giving her advice and stuff like that, and he'll probably stay involved.
What's a piece of advice for someone running for state office or starting their newly began career as a state officer? What's like a little nugget of advice?
Ooh. For someone who's running for state office, my biggest piece of advice would be to, throughout the whole process, just keep a level head. There were so many points during it where I was like so worked up about like, oh, I need to prepare for this and I need to do this. At the end of the day, everybody's in the same boat as you and you're all trying to get to the same thing. Just keep a level head, keep calm, and do what you've worked for probably 4 years now, because it's going to be worth it regardless if you're a state officer or not. And then for those who are newly elected, I would say just continue to be yourself, because when you're all together for that first time, you're all trying to figure out how to fit in and who has this personality or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you can just be yourself, the team is going to start to click so much better than if everybody's trying to be a carbon copy or the state officer profile.
There you go. I think that's great advice, Jagger. I remember we always called it the cookie cutter FFA member.
Yes. Yep.
If we fit that. And a lot of us don't fit it, and that's okay. And I think it's really important that the more you are yourself, just think of the person that's maybe more like you that will relate more to you. So that's a great way to look at it, Jagger.
And as we were told over and over again, like, we were elected for the people that we are, not for a cookie cutter.
Exactly. I feel like that's something they really stress. Eventually, when you get to be a state FFA officer, they obviously go through, you take personality tests and you get to know yourself a little bit better.
Yep.
And by golly, I got to know myself a lot more
No
during
kidding.
my state officer year, there were things I didn't know about myself or how I worked with people that I was like, oh, I didn't realize I did that. Maybe I need to work on that. Or, oh, I didn't realize that. I remember there was another girl on my team and we had very similar personalities, but hers included includer and mine was activator or something. And those two things, I think, were the things that kind of clashed between us because every time that I was trying to start something, I felt like she was being just so, she wanted to be a part of it. And I was like, that's great, but this was my thing. And I would get bummed about it. And I was like, why is she doing this? And then she would go after me more. Like she wanted to be there. She wanted to do this. She wanted to help. And that was her includer coming out. And I didn't know that until I had a conversation with somebody. They said, did you ever realize that she has includer in her thing? And that maybe when you step back, she's trying to include you more. And so that goes into your career well after FFA. Even today, when my last job, we did several different personality tests and learning how you work with people. And sometimes you just have to think, okay, maybe it's not them coming at me. Maybe it's them trying to help me.
Right.
And so that's a big part of it is learning more about yourself. So when you think of State FFA office, Paige, just be yourself. You'll be okay. But also, there's other people besides State FFA officers. What would you tell younger Jagger, that's a freshman, about FFA, just as a piece of advice, really?
I think I would really stress the point that it is so much more than just the agriculture. Because when you first come into it, you're told you have to take one ag class a year. And that's like, that was the main thing I was told. And so I was like, oh, it's an ag organization. I grew up on a farm. I guess that makes sense. There is so much more. And as I got involved with national convention and competitions, I wish I could have told freshman me that, like, this is going to be so much more and it is going to affect you as a person more than anything else in high school will.
Mm-hmm. That's a great piece of advice too, because it really is a leadership organization when it comes down to the foundation of what FFA is. Although it's rooted in agriculture, they're really teaching you public speaking. We talked about job interview on one of these. We've talked about just how it leads you to a business that you can succeed with as a career if you choose to through your SAE and stuff like that. So you're exactly right. It really does come down to that. Okay, well, Jagger, your story has been so inspiring. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you coming on here on Beyond the Jacket. I wanted to plug one thing before we got off. If people are interested in the state of Iowa, having you come to their classroom, how do they do that?
So once we get more towards the chapter workshop time zone, so that's going to be more towards like the December part of the year, I will have, or an email will be sent out to advisors asking them if they want me to visit or if they want any state officers to visit. And then they can fill that out and we'll go to the ones that we were requested to be at.
I love that. So if you're a student listening or if you're an advisor and you want Jagger to come to your classroom, it sounds like he's working up a storm on empowering students in the future. And so if you want him to come, make sure to look for that email in December. You can also find his contact information. I think it's on iowaffa.com. Is that where it is?
Yep.
Perfect. And you can listen to Beyond the Jacket on Simplecast, on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all the things. So make sure to be following us and tagging along for the next episode. Paige, anything else?
No, Jagger, it's nice to meet you, and thank you for telling us your journey beyond the jacket and all the things to come. I'm excited to keep up with you and learn more about what the future holds.
Of course, and I appreciate you both inviting me.